Did you know that mastering communication as a leader is often one of the most daunting challenges new leaders face? Hi, I'm Lauren, your leadership coach. We are here to dive into the art of effective communication for new leaders and how you can use it to drive success. I want you to imagine this. You've just landed your first leadership role. Exciting, isn't it? But it's also a bit scary. One of the biggest fears that new leaders grapple with is the fear of being misunderstood or not being heard at all. Does that sound familiar? Well, you're not alone. Everyone has been in your shoes at some point, feeling uncertain and anxious about leading a new team. But here's the good news. Effective communication as a leader isn't about speaking more, it's about speaking strategically. In this video, we will dive deeper into the nuances of leadership communication, providing practical tips and strategies to enhance your communication skills. By the end of this video, you'll be well equipped to tackle any communication challenge that comes your way, ensuring your journey towards effective leadership is a successful one. And trust me, once you master these skills, not only will you boost your confidence, but you'll also foster a sense of trust and respect among your team members. So, if you're ready to become a more effective leader through better communication, stick around. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with a friend who might also find it helpful. Let's get started. First, let's talk about the importance of good communication as a leader. Picture this. You're standing on a ship, the wind in your hair, the salty sea air filling your lungs. You're the captain of this vessel, and your crew is waiting for your orders. How do you communicate with them? Do you shout out commands randomly, hoping someone hears you over the roar of the waves? Or do you gather your crew, look them in the eye, and speak clearly and concisely? I think we can agree that the second option sounds better, right? And the same principle applies to leading a team in any setting. Good communication as a leader isn't about barking orders, it's about fostering a two-way conversation. It's about understanding and being understood. Let's consider a meeting scenario. As a leader, you're not just there to dictate the agenda. You're there to listen, to answer questions, to clarify misunderstandings, and most importantly, you're there to learn from your team. You're there to create an environment where everyone feels heard and valued. Think about it. Isn't it more engaging when someone takes the time to explain why a task is important rather than just telling you to do it? When you understand the why, you feel more motivated and invested in the task at hand. The same goes for your team. But here's the catch. Good communication doesn't happen overnight. It's a skill that needs to be honed and practiced. But don't worry, you're not alone in this journey. We've all had our share of foot and mouth moments. Believe me, I've had my fair share. The key is to learn from these experiences and keep improving. Imagine this scenario. You're part of a team working on a project, but the leader is constantly tight-lipped about the progress. They give out tasks but never explain why they're important. How would you feel? Confused, frightened, maybe a little suspicious? That's because lack of communication breeds mistrust and uncertainty. On the other hand, imagine a leader who's always open about the project's status, who explains the importance of each task, and who's always ready to answer questions. Such transparency fosters trust and makes you feel valued as part of the team. That's the power of good communication. But that's not all. Good communication also facilitates understanding and clarity. It's like a lighthouse guiding your ship through a foggy night. Without clear instructions and feedback, your team might lose their way amidst the fog of confusion. But with good communication, you can guide them safely towards their destination. And what happens when everyone understands their roles and the project's goals? Engagement and collaboration skyrocket. When team members feel heard and understood, they are more likely to share ideas, ask questions, and collaborate effectively. It's like a well-oiled machine where every part works in harmony. Last but not least, good communication enhances team morale and motivation. Let's face it, we all love being recognized for our hard work. A simple "great job" or "I appreciate your effort" can boost someone's morale more than you think. And motivated team members are more likely to go the extra mile, ensuring the team's success. Let's talk about some strategies we can use to enhance communication as a leader. First up, let's talk about storytelling. Who who doesn't love a good story? Whether it's an epic tale of adventure or a simple anecdote about your weekend, stories have a way of capturing our attention and stirring our emotions. As a leader, you can use storytelling to illustrate your points, share your vision, and connect with your team on a deeper level. Remember, facts tell, but stories sell. Have you ever sat around a campfire, the crackling flames casting dancing shadows while someone spun a tale that had everyone on the edge of their seats? That's the power of storytelling. It's not just for children or campfires, it's a potent tool that every leader should have in their communication arsenal. In the realm of leadership, storytelling serves multiple purposes. It can be used to inspire, to teach, to connect, and even to persuade. Let me share a few examples. Consider the legendary Steve Jobs introducing the iPhone for the first time. He didn't just talk about its features or specifications. Instead, he painted a picture of a world transformed by this revolutionary device. He told a story of progress, of innovation, of a future where your music, your phone, and your internet communication device are all one and the same. And people bought into that story. They didn't just buy a product, they bought into the vision. But storytelling isn't just for the big shots. Even on a smaller scale, as a team leader, you can use stories to communicate effectively. Let's say you want to emphasize the importance of customer service. You could share a story about a time when you were a customer and exceptional customer service made a lasting impression on you. Or maybe you want to highlight the value of persistence. You could tell a tale of a project that faced numerous obstacles, but thanks to the team's relentless efforts, turned out to be a great success. Remember, stories stick. Long after the PowerPoint slides are forgotten and the spreadsheets are closed, the stories you tell will linger in people's minds. They'll remember the lessons, the emotions, and the values embedded in your narratives. I'd love to hear from you. Do you have any memorable stories from your leadership journey? Anytime you used a story to communicate with your team? Go ahead and share your story in the comments below. Remember, every story shared is a lesson learned, and by sharing your story, we can all learn from each other. Another strategy is an emotional appeal. Have you ever experienced how some speeches tug at your heartstrings while others leave you out cold? That's because emotions drive our decisions more than logic. So don't be afraid to show your passion, share your struggles, and celebrate your victories. Your team will appreciate your authenticity and feel more connected to you and your cause. Emotional appeal is not about manipulating people's feelings. It's about connecting with your audience on a deeper level. It's about showing your human side. It's about saying, hey, I'm not just your boss, I'm a person just like you. Think about Martin Luther King Jr.'s iconic I Have a Dream speech. He didn't just present facts and figures about racial inequality, he painted a vivid picture of a future where his 4 little children would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. He appealed to our deepest emotions, our hopes, our fears, our dreams, and moved an entire nation towards change. Or consider another example of Sheryl Sandberg, Facebook's COO. In her book, Lean In, she openly shared her experiences, struggles, and triumphs as a woman in the corporate world. She didn't just talk about gender equality, she made us feel the urgency, the frustration, and the potential for change. Her emotional appeal sparked a global conversation and inspired millions of women to lean in. Even in everyday leadership, emotions play a crucial role. Let's say you're leading a team working on a challenging project. Instead of just pushing them to meet deadlines, share why this project matters to you personally. Maybe it aligns with your passion for innovation, or maybe it could help thousands of people lead better lives. By sharing your emotions, you're not just assigning tasks, you're inviting your team to join you on a meaningful journey. Or perhaps you're addressing a team that's going through tough times. Instead of brushing off their struggles, acknowledge their feelings, show empathy, share your own experiences of overcoming challenges. Let them know it's okay to feel frustrated or overwhelmed. This emotional connection can boost morale and foster resilience more than any pep talk. Remember, people may forget what you said or did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So don't be afraid to show your emotions. Laugh, cry, celebrate, commiserate, be real, be human. Now, let's move on to inclusive language. In this diverse world, it's essential to make sure everyone feels seen and heard. Simple changes in your language can make a big difference. For example, instead of saying you guys, say everyone or all. Instead of manpower, say workforce. And always respect people's pronouns. Remember, language shapes reality, so let's shape a reality where everyone feels included. Picture this. You're at a party in the corner, nursing your drink, when suddenly the host spots you and calls out, "Hey everyone, let's welcome our new friend." Suddenly, you're not just a wallflower, you're part of the gang. Feels nice, doesn't it? That's the power of inclusive language. Inclusive language is like that friendly host. It makes everyone feel seen, heard, and valued. It's not about political correctness or buzzwords, it's about respect. It's about acknowledging our diverse identities and experiences. And as a leader, it's a powerful tool to foster a sense of belonging and unity on your team. Let's look at some real-life examples, shall we? Consider the case of Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, and I apologize if I pronounced that incorrectly. When he took over, he shifted the company's language from know-it-all to learn-it-all. This small change sent a powerful message. Everyone has something to learn, and everyone has something to teach. The result? A more open, collaborative, and inclusive culture. Or take the example of Starbucks. In 2018, they closed more than 8,000 stores for an afternoon to conduct anti-bias training. They didn't just talk about diversity, they made it a priority. And their language reflects that commitment. From job descriptions to their customer service, they use gender-neutral terms and inclusive phrases like "all are welcome." But what does inclusive language look like on a day-to-day basis? Well, it could be as simple as saying "hi folks" instead of "hi guys." Or if you're in the South, like I am, "hey y'all." Or using they as a singular pronoun when you don't know someone's gender identity. Or asking people their pronouns instead of assuming based on their appearance or name. Or replacing gendered terms like chairman with gender-neutral ones like chair or chairperson. Transparency is another crucial aspect of leadership communication. No one likes to be kept in the dark, especially when it comes to their work. So share your plans, explain your decisions, admit your mistakes, and most importantly, be honest. Your team will respect you for your honesty and feel more invested in your shared goals. Transparency is like that clear, sparkling water you find in a mountain spring. You can see right through it, and it's refreshing, isn't it? In the world of leadership, being transparent means being open, honest, and straightforward about your actions and decisions. It's about letting your team see the why behind the what. Even in day-to-day leadership, being open and honest can make a big difference. Let's say you're leading a project and there's a major change in direction. Instead of just announcing the change, explain why it's happening. Share the reasoning behind the decision. This kind of transparency reduces anxiety, builds understanding, and gets everyone on the same page. Or perhaps you're giving feedback to a team member. Don't just tell them what they need to improve. Explain why it matters. Share specific examples. This transparency makes the feedback more meaningful and actionable. Remember, my friends, transparency is like a window. It lets the light in. It allows people to see what's happening inside, and most importantly, it builds trust. Because when people can see what you're doing and why you're doing it, they're more likely to trust you and follow your lead. Active listening is often overlooked as a communication strategy, but it's immensely powerful. It's not just about hearing the words, it's about understanding the emotions behind them. So when someone is speaking, give them your full attention. Don't interrupt, don't judge, don't listen, don't multitask. You'd be surprised how much you can learn by simply actually listening. Consider this. You're in the middle of a conversation and suddenly it hits you. The person you're talking to is not just hearing your words, they're really listening. Their eyes are on you, they're nodding along, they're not scrolling on their phone, they're asking thoughtful questions. You feel seen, heard, and understood. That, my friends, is the magic of active listening. Now, imagine transferring that magic to your role as a leader. Sounds pretty powerful, right? That's because it is. Active listening is like a secret weapon in your leadership toolkit. It's not just about being silent while others talk, it's about engaging fully, responding appropriately, and showing that you genuinely care. Think about Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential communicators of our time. What sets her apart? It's her ability to listen actively. She doesn't just interview people, she connects with them. She shows empathy, asking probing questions, and gives people space to share their stories. And in doing so, she makes them feel valued and heard. But what does active listening look like in everyday leadership? Well, let's say a team member comes to you with a problem. Instead of jumping to solutions, take the time to listen. Let them express their thoughts and feelings without interruption. Ask clarifying questions, reflect back what you've heard to make sure you've understood correctly. This kind of active listening can turn a simple conversation into a powerful moment of connection and problem solving. Or perhaps you're in a meeting and someone suggests an idea. Instead of moving on quickly, dig deeper. Ask them to elaborate. Explore the pros and cons, encourage others to chime in. By listening actively and setting an example of listening actively, you're not just brainstorming ideas, you're creating a culture of respect and collaboration. So let's all strive to be better listeners, because when we listen actively, we lead effectively. Last but not least, let's talk about humility. As a leader, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that you must know everything and you must be right about everything. But here's the thing. No one knows everything, and that's okay. Admitting that you don't know something, asking for help, or acknowledging someone else's expertise doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And guess what? People relate to humans, not robots. Consider this. You're at a conference, sitting among a sea of business suits and power ties. The keynote speaker steps up to the podium. You brace yourself for the usual onslaught of jargon and self-promotion. But then, something unexpected happens. The speaker starts by admitting a mistake they made. They share how they learned from it, how it made them a better leader. Suddenly, you're not just in an audience, you're part of a conversation. That is the power of humility in leadership. Humility is like a breath of fresh air in a stuffy boardroom. It's not about downplaying your achievements or avoiding the spotlight. It's about recognizing that you don't have all the answers, that you're willing to learn from others, and that you value your team's contributions as much as your own. Now, let's look at some real-life examples. Remember when Brian Chesky, the CEO of Airbnb, responded to criticism about the company's impact on housing markets? Instead of being defensive, he admitted that they had made mistakes and pledged to do better. This humble response not only diffused the criticism, but also showed that the company was committed to learning and improving. Or consider the example of Barry Barra, the CEO of General Motors. When faced with a safety crisis involving faulty ignition switches, she didn't pass the blame or hide behind legal jargon. She took responsibility, apologized, and promised to make things right. Her humility helped the company navigate a difficult time and rebuild trust with their customers. But humility isn't just for crisis management. It's a powerful tool in day-to-day leadership as well. Let's say you're leading a team meeting and a team member suggests an idea that you hadn't considered. Instead of brushing it off to preserve your ego, you could say, "That's an excellent point. I hadn't thought of that. Let's explore it further." This shows that you value your team's input and that you're open to learning from them. Or perhaps you're giving a presentation and someone asks a question that you can't answer. Instead of bluffing your way through, you could say, "That's a great question, and I don't have the answer right now, but I'll find out and get back to you." This kind of honesty not only shows humility, but also builds credibility. Humility is more than just a nice-to-have virtue. It's a must-have leadership skill. Well, there we have it, my friends. We've taken a deep dive into the world of leadership communication, unmasking the potency of transparency, active listening, and humility. These aren't just flashy phrases, but tangible tools that can make a real difference. We've seen them in action through stories of other leaders, and we've explored how you can implement them in your own leadership journey. Remember, being transparent is like opening a window, allowing trust to flow freely. Active listening is your secret superpower, making your team feel seen, heard, and valued. And humility, that's the refreshing breeze that keeps us on our toes, always learning, growing, and connecting with others. But let's remember, this isn't a one-way street. Leadership is a two-way conversation, not a monologue. So I want to hear from you. How are you implementing these strategies? What challenges are you facing? What victories are you celebrating? Tell us in the comments below. And if you're a new leader feeling a bit daunted, take a deep breath. You're not alone. We all trip, we all face hurdles, and we all have those moments of self-doubt. But that's how we learn. That's how we grow. And guess what? I'm here for you. So don't hesitate to reach out at the link below if you need a sounding board, a pep talk, or just someone to say, "I've been there and it gets easier." This is Lauren, your leadership coach, signing off. Take care, my friends, and see you next time.